Hi guys, it's Mrs. Millison. Okay, let's look at how to use for loops to traverse our arrays. Okay, so we're going to use for loops to print all the items in our array in order from first to last, and then we'll do from last to first. Then we'll use an array to modify all the values, or use a loop to modify all the values of an array. And then we'll create a loop to try to find a specific value, a specific element in the array, and then return its index value. Okay. All right, so how to print all the elements of array. So I basically am going to use my for loop to go through all the indexes. So I'm going to start at index 0 and 0, 1, 2, 3 up to the length minus 1. Spelled tau wrong. Okay, sorry. That was my old kitty. Oh, no, it was TAO. All right, so let's do that. So we'll do 4. So I'm going to start int I equals 0 because this is the index. I can call it index if we want. Let's do that. So this is the index of tau, so that would be 0. And then I'm going to go up to the length. So let's see, cat's length. So this will go up to 0, 1, 2. Actually, the length is 4, but there's no index. So I want to do index is less than, index is less than the length because then it'll stop. It won't run at 4. It'll stop at 3. Okay. And then index will increment it. And I'm just going to print. I'm going to do a space on a single line. So we'll do cats and then the index that it happens to be on. So it's going to do cat 0, cat 1, cat 2, cat 3, which should grab all those. And then let's add a space between the cat names. Okay. All right. Oops, let me close my 4 here. Oh, not I, index. There we go. Use I in the next one. Okay, so we got Tao, Fuzz, Kitty, and Maggie. All right, let's do the same thing, but let's print the dogs in reverse order. Okay, so I am going to now, instead of, I'm going to use I if you guys don't mind. Instead of starting at 0, I'm going to start at the dog length minus 1. Okay, because 1, 2, 3, there's 6 dogs in here. The length is 6, but this last index is actually 5. So the length minus 1. And then I'm going to go down to I is, as long as I is greater than or equal to 0, because I want 0. That'll give me Duke. And then we will decrease I every single time. And again, now I'm just going to go through and print out all the dogs according to their index number. Okay, and again, I'm going to keep this on one line just for spacing. Let me add an empty space here so my cat and dog names don't run into each other. See everything? What did I? Oh, forgot the closing bracket on that one. All right, let me get the names up here. Okay, so now dogs will go from reverse. So it'll go from the largest index down to an index of 0. So it should print Cody to Duke in reverse order. And Cody to Duke in reverse order. Okay, good. So that's how I can use loops, for loops, to go through and print everything. Okay, now let's use a for loop. Let's come through my ages array and let's modify all the elements in the array by adding 2 to each one. Okay, so we'll do 4. I'm just going to use I again if that's okay. I'm going to start at the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to go from 0, oops, not O, to up to the length. So we'll do ages length. That should be good, less than, so it won't actually ever hit the length. And then we'll increase. And now this time, I'm going to print it. But before I print it, I'm going to take the value that was in that index plus equals 2. Okay, so this will take 12 and add 2 to it, so it'll be 14. This will take 23 and add 2 to it, so it should be 25. And then I'll print them. Oh, and of course, let me print them in a line just for space. So ages I plus space. Okay, and I think we're good. So now I shouldn't see 12 or 23. Oh, and as usual, I forgot to add an empty line after we printed out the dogs. Everything's going to run into each other. Okay, so good. So I see 14, 25, 54, 74, and so forth. Okay, so it added 2 to each element array. So it's a nice way to use a loop to modify all the elements consistently. Okay. All right, let's do one more. What I want to do here is I want to create some code to look for a specific value in the array. Okay, and then we'll turn it into a method. Okay, let's look for the animals. Let's look for the animals. So we're going to look for, like, say, kitty first, and we want the code to go through each element and see if it equals kitty. And if it does equal kitty, it's going to give us the index number. Okay. So I'm still going to traverse through the same way. I'm going to copy and paste this if that's okay. It's still going to traverse through the same way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a specific value. So I'm going to create a string called find me. Okay, and this is what we're looking for. Okay, so now in here, I want it to say if the cat's index equals the find me value, right? If that's true, I want it to tell me what index it's at. So maybe move that over a little bit. I want to print find me is at index number I. Okay, so it should, once it finds it, it should tell me what index number it's at. Oh, let me close that if statement, and then I think that's closed, so I should be good, right? Or maybe not. Do I need that right there? Oh, let me compile and see. Years. Oh, I need an extra parenthesis. Oh, because that should be index. Okay. So where was kitty? 0, 1, 2. So that should tell me kitty is at index 2. Oops. Oh, kitty is at index 2. Of course, I forgot to put a space. Heavens. So we can see it down its own line. And kitty's at index 2. Okay, let's take this, and now let's turn it into a method so I can run it with any string array looking for any string value. Okay, so I am just going to copy and paste this. I don't need that. Take it out of my main method. Okay, and let's see. We're going to make it static. We'll do a void since it's going to do a printout statement, and we'll find string. Okay, now what I want to do here, before I put my parameters, let me encapsulate my method so I don't forget about that. Okay, what I want to put in here is the string array and then the string that I'm looking for. So I'm going to do a string array, data type, and I'm just going to call it words. Okay, that'll be my generic name, and then string and the target value, the target element, or I'll put element, the element of the array I'm looking for. Okay, so in here, I don't need this anymore because this is now element. Okay, so it should equal element here. And then I'm going to come down here, and when it finds the element, it'll tell me the index. Okay, now I don't have cats anymore. I want it to look for whatever array I'm going to put in the parameters for words. So I'm going to change this to words and this to words. And I think I should be good. Let me get rid of this space. That okay, good. All right, so now let's run the find string up here. So if I do it again up here, now I shouldn't have to print it because it'll print something. If I do find string and I put in cats and I put in, let's do a different cat besides kitty. I don't remember the cats. Let's do fuzz. Fuzz was the first index, so that should tell me fuzz is at index 1. Okay, let's see what it says. And fuzz is at index 1. Now we can run this also on the dogs array. Of course, I don't remember any of the dogs' names. Let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3. Let's do Sparky. Sparky's index 2. Okay, we'll do Sparky and Cody. How's that? Sparky, and then we'll also find Cody. So see, creating it as a method allows me to run it a lot more times quicker on different arrays than if I had to rewrite the method, or excuse me, rewrite the code within the main method every single time. So we've got to start getting used to making any kind of repetitive code become a method. Okay, so Sparky was at index 2 and Cody was at index 5. Okay. All right, so this is some examples of ways that we can use for loops to get through our arrays. Okay, looking for a specific value in the array, returning the index number, changing all the values in an array, okay, or simply printing an array in order or in reverse order. Okay, I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you all next time.